their customers. You know, those who are paying tickets to hear you play.
Well, I think they'll refund your money at this point, but
I actually got a call. They said I could have a refund of my ticket, or I can contribute it to the orchestra. I said, I'll take the money and I'll contribute it to the musicians.
yes. And you're not the only one who has done that. I know many people who are demanding their money back and turning it over to the musicians. And I think that's a sad thing, because in all of this, the audience seems to be the party without a voice. And so the SBCO musicians are trying to do the job, do the hard work and the very rewarding work of keeping the audience connected to the musicians. We had a wonderful concert yesterday at Wayzata Community Church. It sold out the house. It was a benefit concert for the musicians. And our former music director, Pinka Zuckerman, donated his time. He called us and said, what can we do? What can I do? And he flew in and played, he conducted and played an all Mozart concert for a sold-out audience. And I mean, it was just overwhelming, the support.
And you've got some coming up later in the month.
Yes, we do. We have.
And you're playing in Minneapolis.
We are. And that's no slam against St. Paul. We had to work fast to get the venues. Right. Yes. And Central Lutheran Church in Minneapolis, they are donating their space. They're donating ushers, printing, posters, all this. And we're doing 2 performances of Handel's Messiah on the 20th, December 20th and 21st. Full chorus, soloists, and another former music director, Hugh Wolf, again, volunteering his services to come in, and all the musicians are volunteering their services. So it's really exciting. We're trying to keep the audience engaged, and we think that is going to ensure the future of the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, making sure the audiences know how much the musicians value them.
Well, it's not the managers who make the music.
No, it really isn't. And I think people are finally putting that together. Okay.
Yeah. How can American Crystal Sugar stay competitive in the sugar industry?
They're not. They're not. They have for long been the leading sugar producer in the country, most profitable, and had the highest payments to their beet growers. Their finances are going through the floor. I mean, this lockout, it's hard to imagine how this can be considered fiscally responsible by the shareholders that are growers who own the company.
And the chief financial
costs are up. Their revenues are down. They're making more molasses than they've ever made before, which indicates that they're not getting all the sugar, extracting enough all the sugar out of the beets. Yeah. They're storing what's called remelt. It's unsaleable sugar all up and down the Red River Valley in warehouses full of remelt that has to be reprocessed before it can be sold. It's crazy, and typically Crystal Sugar has been a leader in the payments to farmers, the per ton payments to farmers. Now they're at the bottom of the back of the pack. It seems imponderable how anybody could think this was a fiscally responsible approach to running their business. But,
Carole, is there more than money involved?
Yes, there is, and but to Bill's point, it's hard to believe that this is fiscally responsible for the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra either. What the damage being done to the reputation, and again, keeping the audience engaged is one of our main concerns. But it isn't just about the money. There is also on the table on the management's proposal that they want complete artistic control, and we have what was touted a few years ago as a collaborative atmosphere where musicians and board and staff kind of get together and decide what's going to be done. We don't have a music director who would ordinarily be the artistic voice, so the musicians have been described as the artistic voice. And yet in this proposal, the musicians would be participating 1 musician to every 2, either a board or a staff person. So it's very unlikely that the musical voice would take precedence over the financial voice. And that's obviously what's happening now. I mean, the remarkable thing with us is that when they don't give concerts, they save money. They're saving on expenses. And I don't know how they're doing on income, because as you say, the tickets, people are getting their money back. I know of donors who are not donating or wanting their money back also. But they save money when they don't give concerts. So at this point, they've saved quite a bit.
Okay. Question for Bill first, then Carole. Have you received any support, or have the workers received any support from public officials?
The Crystal Sugar Workers have received significant support, particularly Governor Dayton held a hearing back about a year ago now this time, invited company and people from the community and workers and their families to come and tell him what it was about. He invited both the union and the company to come together to meet nonstop with him until something was settled. The union agreed to do it. The company blew it off. He's put himself on the line. Senator Franken also has been there, strongly speaking out and trying to convince the company to abandon their unreasonable path and to sit down and have real negotiations. Senator Klobuchar has tried to help out from that. Virtually the whole Minnesota delegation, but particularly Senator Franken and Governor Dayton have really taken the lead. And state legislators too from the area. Keith Langseth, for instance. I'm not from up there, so I'm going to leave some names out. But no, the state legislative delegation has been tried to help. And Representative Collins Peterson, of course, is an influential person there.
In St. Paul?
Yes, Mayor Coleman has offered to help with negotiations. We're going to take him up on that, and nothing's scheduled yet, but we're getting information to him in the hopes that that will get us started bargaining again.
Yes. Well, have the positions of management changed at all since the beginning in your several weeks now, or in the case of sugar workers, several months, more than several months? Has the management position changed at all?
The management position has not changed since last December. They still want $1.5 million out of the union contract. And we've offered 3 other proposals. We're ready to offer another one. We asked them to consider a framework for bargaining, and we told them there would be another offer if they accepted the framework, and they refused the framework. So at this point, they are standing right where they were a year ago.
Okay. I know the sugar workers have voted 4 times on the contract. Has it been the same contract each time, basically?
Worse now than it was at the beginning, but I mean, it basically was a take it or leave it offer back in the spring of 2011 when they began negotiations. There's been no substantial change in management's offer. And again, it's not it isn't so much about money. I mean, the union did not quibble with their financial offer. It's about health insurance, and it's about the issues of control and workers' rights and opportunities for advancement. Job security. It's not about wages in a normal sense. Never has been. Management keeps saying, we made a fair offer. For heaven's sake, we offered a 13% wage increase. So for heaven's sake, that was gone the first week of the lockout.
Yeah.
And after 16 months, people are never going to make up what they've lost through this thing, but it never was, a dollars and cents kind of thing. It was an attempt by the Crystal Sugar Management to crush the will of the people who worked for them and who had delivered the 5 most profitable years in their history. Thank you very much.
As we're talking here, I'm struck by the fact that there's so much in common between the sugar workers and the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra members And my own background of teaching for 35 years, some of the same basic union issues are there, and no matter what type of industry. And I see roots in my own background with the auto workers and all that. Where can the public go to find out more information?
Well, the Chamber Orchestra musicians have a website, musicianspco.org, and we also have an audience support group which just launched their website. They are doing a tremendous job. They have a petition on their website. It's called sospco.org, and the musicians of the Minnesota Orchestra also have a website. So all of these websites will give you information. They'll give you links to newspaper articles, which you'll see the contradictions in the management's pronouncements as the months pass. You'll see that it just doesn't line up what they're saying. So you'll get more information there.
And Bill?
You caught me off guard here. I don't have the actual website in front of me, but I know that it's on the screen.
Okay.
But the main thing that people can do to support the workers is to boycott crystal sugar products. If in doubt, buy cane sugar, and contribute if you can to the hardship fund for the union or the action fund, and that information is available at that website, whose URL now slips my mind.
Yeah, well, it's on the website, it's on the screen.
Yeah.
And if people who are watching don't have a pen or pencil handy, they can just call State AFL-CIO.
Yes. 651-227-7647.
That's right.
651-227.
Yeah, and that number also gets on the screen.
Does that get
It's also on the screen. Okay.
Excuse my aging memory.
Yeah. Anyways, I wanted to get those items in before the actual before the actual close of the show. With this locked-in position with management here and labor here, is it a stretch to talk about class warfare? You know, I'm thinking about, at the same time, I'm thinking about taxes and people with incomes over $1 million not wanting to pay one dime more in taxes, and those of us who are in the middle class, you know, have an entirely different perspective. How extreme are the positions?
I don't know about class warfare. I think of it more in terms of what the political scientists Jerome Hacker and Paul Pearson call the winner-take-all economy.
Okay.
I think this is a manifestation of it for some time now, because largely political organization on the part of corporate interests. The income of the nation and the wealth of the nation has been shifting upward to the famous 1%, and even within the 1% to the half of 1%. And middle class people, working people, have seen their share of the nation's wealth and of income steadily diminish, and it hasn't been by accident. Productivity, it's not an issue of productivity. Productivity is up nationwide. Productivity in crystal sugar, like we say, they had the most profitable 5 years in their history before they locked the workers out. So it's not that the workers haven't been doing their job and producing wealth, but the people who have the wealth, they want more, and it's a winner-take-all situation. This is an example of it. It's not the only example. And I think that to the extent that this lockout strategy succeeds across a wide swath of the working class, that other employers will come after middle class workers as well. So this is coming to a station near you very soon.
Yeah. Now, Carole, I know the lawyer representing the management of the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, the law firm, is the same law firm that represents the management of Minnesota Orchestra, which is the same law firm that represents the American Crystal Sugar Company. Is there anything to be made of that? or is that a coincidence, or is that just a anti-labor law firm also making a buck? Or maybe we don't know. I don't know.
Well, I don't even want to mention the name of the law firm because they'll get more business possibly. So I think it's more than coincidence.
Yeah, just like we did a whole show a few months ago on a group called called ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, and they were interested in a number of different issues and have influenced state legislatures around the country. Behind the curtain, so to speak, and below the radar, and most, if not all of their issues have been anti-labor. So we shall see. So our award-winning director Roger Carlson and his crack retiree crew are signaling me that our time is about up. Carole Mason Smith, chair of the musicians of the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, I thank you, and Bill Moore, the AFL-CIO labor liaison to the American Crystal Sugar. Minnesota AFL-CIO.
Boycott crystal sugar, Dan.
Boycott
crystal sugar.
And I thank the viewers for joining us today as we look at lockouts, which is a brutal tool of management to deny worker rights.